It is rodeo time here in Houston. Can you believe it?
I can believe it. I broke out the rodeo shirt. It's one of my favorite times of year in this town.
You know, even if I wasn't paying attention to when the rodeo was happening or didn't know, because of where we live, every weekend when it kicks off, they have the trail ride come from Memorial Park, and it just screws with my entire day because for some weird reason I pull out in the morning having something to do, and then there's chuck wagons and horses, and only in Texas.
Only in Texas.
Welcome to Neighbors Don't Knock, the show that brings you hilarious, unapologetic conversations only these neighbors can have. Join them and guests in their weekly mission to expand the neighborhood. Now, here's your hosts, Brian Chambers and Philip Goffrey.
Hello, all you neighbors out there. What's up to you neighbors over there and you neighbors everywhere, wherever you are. Welcome to Neighbors Don't Knock, the show where we have some great conversations, banter, discuss a little bit what's going on in our neighborhood, hoping to expand it with you out there. Today we're going to be talking about the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, which is a really big deal here for us. We're going to talk about some great tips and tricks to hanging out or going to the rodeo, some things you may not know, and of course, as always, we end our show with going with the good, the bad, the ridiculous of neighbor tweets. What's going on, Philip?
Not much, buddy. But before we get started, I do want to say, go ahead, hit that subscribe button, subscribe, follow, both on YouTube and anywhere you get your podcasts. We're only halfway through season 6, not even quite halfway through yet. So there's a lot of great stuff to come.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's jump right into it, man. I mean, it is Houston rodeo time, and I know for a lot of you listening that are not neighbors here in Houston or happen to be other neighbors around Texas, you have heard, I'm sure everyone here in Texas has heard of the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, but it's a big deal for the city. It really generates a lot of buzz throughout the entire year. Honestly.
A lot of buzz, a lot of money, a lot of good things. I'm a little bit surprised, though. I don't know about you all, but I should say y'all in this situation. I'm a little bit surprised that I haven't heard a yeehaw from this man yet.
I know I'm not a yeehaw person.
You're not a yeehaw
guy? I'm not
guy?
a yeehaw person. I mean, I know I live in Texas, but I'm not a yeehaw person.
Pearl snaps and decorative shoulders are about as yeehaw as I get. I agree.
I'm wearing my Republic Boot, what's up, guys, Texas hat right now. So I mean, I got some rodeo love going out there, but I mean, do you really want to hear me say yeehaw? It sounds funny.
No.
It sounds funny.
I don't actually. Oh, he did it.
It sounds funny. I can't do it.
Well,
I did it, but I can't repeat that.
Yeah. Speaking of yeehaw, you bring up how much buzz that this thing brings to the city of Houston. I mean, it is incredible. We're talking about just the trail rides alone that come into Houston. You're looking at between 3,000 and 3,500 chuck wagons, horses, riders, paraders. I mean, it is. That's just the people that ride in from all over Texas and even,
actually other places too. There's people that come from Montana, Missouri,
Oklahoma.
Yeah, I mean, it's that's the thing that this. First of all, this is the 90th year of the Houston Rodeo, I believe.
1932.
1932. So is when it started. So it goes back a long time. And, what really makes the Houston Rodeo special? Because I've been to other rodeos before.
Have you?
Yeah, I have. Just, it was not seeking them out. I was with people that we ended
not buying plane tickets.
Not like traveling. It's like I was like, "What are you doing this weekend?" Well, I got to make it up to Missouri for that rodeo, or I got to get
see some roping.
Yeah, no, I just happened to experience other rodeos in a smaller type venue, and they're very exciting. To be honest, if you've never experienced a rodeo, whether it's in a small arena or town or a large rodeo like the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, there's a lot for everybody and more entertainment than I think most would think.
Yep.
But what makes the rodeo special? The Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, it promotes agriculture and education. Since 1932, the rodeo has committed to more than $575 million to Texas youth and education. So it's become a big scholarship foundation.
Yeah, let that sit for a minute. I mean, you're short of $600 million in donations to education for young people. That in and of itself should be just a gold star on anybody's map, right? I mean, the Houston Rodeo is incredible in that regard. And it is, by the way, the largest rodeo in the world.
Yes, it does. And it benefits the youth, supports education, as we said, facilitates better agricultural practices, and it has a lot of different exhibitions and presentations. So it's not just about the scholarship and the fact that there's more people that go to this rodeo than any other year. And on top of that, the participants in the rodeo, whether they're team roping, bull riding, whatever it is, calf wrestling, they come to this rodeo from all over knowing that they can make some money.
Some serious money. Actually, as of now, at this point, the rodeo is giving out over $2 million in prize money every single year to ropers and other competitors throughout the rodeo. That's got to be, what, twice as big as the next biggest rodeo? It's huge.
Yeah, it's massive. It really is massive. So there's so much to do at the rodeo. We're going to walk you through a little bit of what we feel are highlights, things that we love about the rodeo. Now, again, being something that's so large, there's a lot of different things for everybody. So what some person might like is obviously what others might not enjoy. So to each his own, but there's literally something for everybody, I feel, at that. And let's just start with the big one. Let's start with food.
Sure.
I mean, because everyone's got to eat. You got to eat. And the thing about the rodeo is whether you have to eat or don't have to eat, you're going to want to eat. When you walk into those gates and you just smell all the food, it's like, I wasn't hungry, but I could go for a turkey leg.
This is true. This is true. In fact, every year it's now become tradition that right before the actual start date of the rodeo, in the 3-4 days leading up to it, there's a very large barbecue competition.
Yes, the chili cook-off.
Indeed. And
barbecue and chili cook-off.
What happens with this every year is various barbecue joints and chili joints come together and they set up huge, beautiful, elaborate tents all over the fairgrounds of the rodeo. Each tent operates as not only its own kitchen space for the competition itself and for hungry patrons to come in and sample some of these delicious meals, but it also operates as an entertainment space. You have multiple bands playing in various tents. I think last year, or it was up to like 25 different acts a night were going on at any given time.
Yeah, it's insane. I mean, they pretty much build out small restaurants all over the space.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I can't imagine living within that vicinity and having to smell for like a week, like the barbecue and it's just like, it's just sitting around your apartment or your house and like, what do you feel like for dinner? Barbecue. I mean,
it is indeed a delicious smelling event. Not only do you have barbecue competitions, but you also have restaurant competitions. They call it the Best Bites competition in the days following the barbecue cook-off. And they also have a wine competition.
Yeah. And the wine area, which it's escaping me exactly what they call the area for there's a specific area at the rodeo, which is where you can go in and it's just award-winning wines that have been judged and things like that. It's a little garden area, which is really beautiful. And if you have the time and you go and you're a wine person, absolutely go check this out. It's one of the most relaxing things to do at the rodeo, to be honest, because you get off your feet a little bit. You get to try some really good wines. You can people watch, which is always a lot. It's always a lot of fun because when you get to anything of this magnitude and population, there are some sights to see. For people that show up to the rodeo. So food is a really big thing. And even if you're not a big barbecue person, there's plenty of other options. And I'm going to segue into the carnival because if you're not into the restaurants or the barbecue and you like carnival food, there's a massive fair or carnival there that you can get plenty of fried things, and that's
turkey legs, whatever you're into, funnel
fried
cake,
Oreos, fried Twinkies, fried sticks of butter, whatever you want.
It is very, very impressive though, Brian. The fairgrounds are nothing to laugh at. You're talking about a 130-foot tall Ferris wheel that gets installed every year. It's like a traveling full-size carnival nestled amongst the livestock show, the rodeo
Yeah.
itself, Rodeo Uncorked, which is the wine competition.
Oh, that was I couldn't
Best
think of it.
Bites.
Thank you.
It's wild that they can fit an entire fairgrounds into this thing, but they do.
Yeah, and that being said, that's, you start to see a lot more people enjoying it and bringing kids and families and, of course, strollers and everything. But this is no small area. We're not talking. I'm just, it's blown away how big this thing gets, and it feels like it gets bigger every year.
Yeah, in fact, by the numbers, you're looking at 2 million people a year are now visiting the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, which is just mind-bending for me that 2 million people make their way to this thing every year. That's not including the competitors. That's just spectators.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? You're looking at an operating cost right now of $190-ish million per year, and $400 million of revenue being brought into Houston every single year.
Yeah, and you know what also is really amazing that I want to point out, because I know several people that volunteer over there. The volunteers themselves there's a huge number. I mean, we're probably talking anywhere over a couple 20 to 50,000 volunteers, maybe. I don't know.
Rodeo wide, that's probably about accurate.
I mean, it's
throughout the entire
something
run.
like that. I mean, that's the thing that makes the rodeo really work, is that there's so many people willing to volunteer their time in all aspects of it, and they just to be a part of it and just to support it. And I think that speaks to the testament of how this event has grown so much.
Yeah, and for our listeners who are not here in Houston and or maybe new to Houston and just thinking about going to the rodeo, the reason why these numbers are so colossal is because this thing is not a one-weekend event.
No.
You're talking about running from February 28th to March 19th. So at the time of this recording, you've got 16 more days to go check this thing out.
So if you're
awesome.
inspired to come down to Houston, first of all, let us know here at Neighbors Don't Knock and come say hi to us. But absolutely, it's something that we highly recommend for anybody that's coming to the city. I mean, honestly, I would prefer going to the rodeo over Super Bowl.
Well, I think I'm with you on that by default, Brian. But you know me, I'm not exactly the biggest sports fan.
I know, but I mean, I love sports and I love all the events that happen prior to but this it's eye-opening. And a couple other things. So we talked about food. Let's jump into something else, because some of you are like, well, I can eat anywhere. I don't want to pay astronomical prices. The food's good. But
it is good.
There's art exhibits, because there is student art that's put in, as well as other people, and you can go and you can purchase it. It's almost like its own little fair, and shops everywhere, from hat makers to, I mean, I don't even know. There's so many different things and booths.
Basically anything that you can imagine.
It's like a nutcracker market or something, but
Indeed.
except not during Christmas time,
Usually with a bit of a rodeo flair, but not always.
Yeah,
not
absolutely.
Always.
So whether you're getting furniture, clothes, jewelry, food, art, kids' toys, or things like that. I mean, there's so much, and that's all indoors as well. So rain or shine, this thing goes on. So if you're like, well, it's raining and this is our only day to go, it's still worth going, because there is plenty indoors that you can do. The one thing that I want to recommend, and this is for the kid inside of me and all the kids inside of you, you can go and there's an educational section, because you can actually go in and see the livestock show, and there's an arena that's set up indoors that they show the animals. For those that are showing, whether it's horses, bulls, sheep, goats, whatever are being shown. And then there's a section over to the side that actually has education about how animals are born. It has like an incubator with chicks hatching that you can physically see. It also has different types of rabbits and bunnies that you can physically touch and see them in different breeds. And then it has a section with like where pigs or little piglets are born and things like that.
It's very cool.
So it's really kind of neat. So you kind of see the process of this, and a section with bees and how important that is. I mean, there's a lot of education about agriculture and animals and livestock that you will learn that you didn't know. And it's really interesting and fascinating to see that up close and personal.
Yeah, it's very cool. And it's very easy when you live in a metropolitan, very large city like Houston to forget that this country is really driven by agriculture and livestock. I mean, we are a farming country when it really comes down to it. Our economy, our livelihood absolutely relies on it. So you got 4 million people in greater Houston. To have something like this happening right in the center of the town and educating people on what really goes on with how your food is produced, not just to sell to the rest of the world, but to feed you and your family, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I like that. So we've talked about a bunch of things that we can actually do.
We're forgetting one.
But we are
one.
forgetting one very, very large one, and that is the rodeo itself. And now, Philip, you've been to the rodeo several times.
I
know
been
you
several
have.
times.
I used to go all the time. Again, when you live in the city, it doesn't feel like a priority every year, but I always end up going at least once, typically every year. Do you have a favorite part of the actual rodeo?
You know, interestingly enough, I do. For me, the mutton bust.
I knew you were going to go the mutton
part. Yeah.
And if you guys don't know what mutton busting is, it's where we have children strap on helmets and protective pads and grab onto the back of a sheep for dear life and try not to fall off as that sheep just takes off running across the arena.
Yeah,
and they try to hold on as much as they can. Now it is within a gated area, so it's not like they can't go get them. And
we're talking about
fun.
6-year-olds here. I mean, it's pretty amusing. And to be clear, though, we're not talking about random kids off the street. These are little future ropers and ranchers.
Could you imagine?
Yeah.
Could you imagine?
Come on in, boys.
Yeah. I mean, I would have tried it as
hang
a kid. On. I mean, some of them, it looks like they are about to just squeeze the crap out of that sheep because they're holding on so tight.
It's pretty adorable stuff.
And then the other ones that are just, the sheep is so big and their arms just don't quite get around it. So they're just, it's impressive, but it's a lot of fun and to see them. And, of course, the winners that stay on the longest and get voted on win belt buckles. And
PETA, if you're still listening, I'm sorry in advance because that's probably something that most people that are against any kind of animal consumption or farming are like, what? Little kids grab onto sheep and get dragged around an arena? What is going on?
It is really adorable. It's kind of fun. Now, before we get into some of the rodeo events, there is one other thing that I absolutely love, and that is the calf scramble.
Oh, I forgot about the calf scramble. That is fun.
It's really, really fun. And not only is that, the calf scramble is really fun to watch because there's a limited amount of calves and a huge amount of participants. And again, this is not random where if you just show up to the rodeo, be like, I want to do the calf scramble. You have to be signed up to do it because they actually, for those that catch these calves, get to raise the calves. They actually get to raise the calves.
And these are award-winning prize bred calves. These are not like random.
Exactly. Yeah. Like
it's a big deal. If you win, it's a big deal. We
found a stray on the side of the road and we're gonna throw it in. So it is a really big deal. But they have to, get the nose harness on, and they start in the middle. Everyone starts in the middle, and they let the calves off, and it just becomes. And the arena is quite big. At that point, this is not like the mutton busting where it's in a smaller gated area. This is across the entire arena, and you can just tell some of them are just exhausted. But they have to. Not only do they have to get the harness or the bit on or whatever the rope is on them, they have to get them back into the center of the arena. Indeed. Around this in the square to claim the calf and all that and win.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't do much good if you strap on the muzzle and that thing goes running off into the woods.
But that's what's so funny though, because you have some people that are obviously that are twice as small or 3 times as small as the calf, and the calf just goes nope and just takes off, and they're just holding on for dear life,
skipping across the dirt,
and they're just like, and that kid's like, I ain't letting go.
It is something. It is something. Now, on top of all of your livestock and rodeo events, there is one more thing that we're missing from this amazing yearly. Spectacular.
Well, hold on,
event.
because I know where you're going to go with that, but I had to ask before we jump to that. What's your favorite actual? I mean, I know you mentioned mutton busting, but part of the rodeo itself with the adults. What do you enjoy? Because there's a lot of different. Depending which day you go, there's different events that are being held, but you get it's tournament style. So as they go, you get to see, you know, the closer to the end of the rodeo, you're going to see the bigger prize money events.
I don't have a particular favorite rodeo event in and of itself. Like I don't have a roping favorite or anything like that, or a riding favorite. But I mean,
is there one that you enjoy more than the other?
Well, actually, pre-rodeo is what I enjoy more than anything else at this point.
Okay.
Because I go to the cook-off every single year, and I really enjoy that. The barbecue cook-off for me is sort of the highlight of the event and kind of that feeling of it getting kicked off. For me, that's my adrenaline rush about the whole thing for the city. How about you?
Yeah, I'm a big bull riding fan. I love watching the bull ride. I mean, I know it's the 8-second thing, but it's impressive.
It's exciting stuff.
It really is. I'm a big horses fan, so I really enjoy just the horses around. But I know my wife has a lot of allergies, so she has to take an insane amount of allergy medicine because she loves the animals too.
Yeah, you can't let the fact that it's an NRG fool you. It
exactly.
It definitely is a
if
Claritin
you have
event.
Yes, exactly. If you have allergies or something, you're gonna want to take plenty of Claritin or something just to, you know, so otherwise you're gonna be watering, sniffling, whatever. It's just not gonna be as pleasant.
If you're flying or driving into town for it, pack that Zyrtec. It's,
exactly.
It's a thing.
Yeah, but I love the bull riding. It's very, very exciting. The team roping is really kind of cool, but. It's really great, and the commentators do a really good job of letting you know what's going on, and that. And then there's lots of other wonderful things, presentations. They do a good job with the national anthem and all that. But I'm going to let you get into what you were talking about. There is at the end of every day at the rodeo. I should say the end of the rodeo event itself, not the day, because it goes on till I think like 11 or midnight every day. There is something that is very special that brings even more people.
Indeed. They cap every single night of the 20 nights the rodeo runs with a different concert. And in fairness, there are bridge concerts, but they're big, big name performers. A different one every night. 20 individual concerts to end each evening. That is impressive.
Yeah, and we're not talking just, we're going to have someone sing. There is a massive stage, and they have this thing down to an art. It's a rotating stage, so it doesn't matter where in the stadium you are. And, of course, the way they have all the screens you can see as well. But the whole stage rotates the entire show.
Yeah.
And there's little platforms that they walk out on.
Yeah.
Some of them, I remember when I saw Brooks and Dunn, they came out in dune buggies. Like out before getting on the stage.
Very cool. And they're playing again this year.
I know. And Shania Twain came out on a horse, and then they'll get on a truck and ride around at the end. But and again, those are just a couple of names. We're talking about people that we can go all the way back from Johnny Cash to Elvis, Kiss, Dolly Parton. I mean, you can go to other people. Alicia Keys has come. I mean, Marshmello for more recent people. Chainsmokers, and then Garth Brooks. I mean, this is not just country music. They do a nice Lewis job. And the News, Brian McKnight, Boys to Men. I mean, it's insane. Do you have any favorites that you have seen?
I don't have any favorites that I've seen, no, but I have seen some great shows there.
Okay. I never. It's sad. I never saw George Strait.
Really?
Yeah, I never saw George Strait. He played for many, many years, and I think he's kind of done at this point.
Did you catch Kid Rock?
I actually did.
Yeah?
I actually did catch Kid Rock.
Say what you will about Kid Rock. That man is a performer. He busts his butt on stage.
I'm not a fan of him in general, but as a performer, I enjoyed it.
It's a good show.
I mean, that Ba Wada Ba came off and the entire place went kind of nuts. I saw Bruno Mars, too, who I thought was a phenomenal performer.
Another great showman.
The Jackson 5 has performed.
They have.
At the rodeo. I mean, that's the kind of level
that
they're bringing.
Rather than getting into the entire list of all 20 performers from this year or all of the highlights from years prior, I mean, you have 90 years of great performances to look back on. You can go to rodeohouston.com and get a full list of everything going on this year. We'll make sure that we have that in the episode description for you to easily clickety on.
Yeah, absolutely, because it's something that you're really not going to want to miss. And if you have a favorite, whether it's country, whether it's rock, whether, Selena, I believe Selena played at the rodeo.
I think you're right.
But whether you're an R&B fan, I know Gladys Knight played. I mean, there's the Earth, Wind, and Fire, I believe, has played. So there's a lot of variety, and they try to do a good job of mixing up the musical and entertainment acts. And they've even had comedy acts. Jeff Foxworthy and Larry the Cable Guy have gone out there So it's really kind of a neat.
Very cool.
Yeah, that's what I say. There's really something for everybody, but that's not to miss. But have no fear. By the time the concert's over, a lot of people are leaving and going home. And one thing that I really urge you to do is to hang around a little bit longer, because the carnival's still open. Some of the booths are still open. There's still food, and if the weather's nice and it's outside, I mean, it's just an enjoyable atmosphere to be around. And plus, you don't have to worry about the traffic of getting out there or getting back to your car, trying to beat the crowds out. So
2 million people a year visit this event, so be prepared. There is some traffic. Give yourself a lot of time to get in and a lot of time to get out. People are in a rush,
Yeah, and typically the carnival, it's 10 a.m. to midnight. So if you're looking that's the other thing I will say to our viewers and listeners, if you do come in, and for those that do know, you can just go to the carnival. You don't actually have to have a ticket to get into the rodeo, because they are separate.
Indeed. And the carnival runs day and night. So you can go with your family during the day if you'd like to. You can go early evening if you like to. It does not have to be a late night event. And you can go multiple times. There's no reason not to. Brian, to answer your question, Selena not only played once, but 3 times.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, 94, 95, and once with Los
right.
Dinos in 93.
I was like, I wanted to say that was true, but I wanted to make sure we were accurate.
Thank you, RodeoHouston.com.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. So before we wrap this up, though, our top must-dos. What is a top must-do for you?
Well, the cook-off is already done by the time we're dropping this episode, so I'm going to go ahead and say that the must-do is mutton busting. I would not miss that.
Okay, so that means you're going to have to get a ticket to the show.
To the rodeo itself.
I think Philip is just wishing that he could do the mutton busting.
I am. The little kid in me just jumps out like, I want to go grab on one of those things and get dragged around the dirt.
We could strap you to a cow or something and do like an adult version. It's not...
So many jokes. So many jokes.
Neighbors Don't Knock is produced by C&G Communications. C&G specializes in small batch voiceover and video production for commercial media, podcasting, radio, and more.
Combining years of experience in podcasting, acting, and sales, C&G offers big media products at small business prices.
That's right. To learn more, visit their Facebook page or email them directly at admin@cngcommunications.com. So mutton busting is your must-do, so which means you're going to have to get a ticket into the show for the rodeo, which you will not regret. I think for
Definitely not regret.
No. I think for me, my must-do, and I've had so much trouble with this, but I think mine is... Oh, shoot. I don't even know, because I love the rodeo so much going in, but
You asked the question without knowing your own
I know.
answer?
Shame. The problem...
Little pickles. Shame.
As long as they're fried pickles.
Just pick them up.
That's right.
Popping them in. Keep it up. That's delicious. Ooh, shame on me. More.
I'd probably say going into the arena area where you can experience the livestock show itself. Because of all the stands and all that. I think that for me is always a must-do. I enjoy that more. One, because there's food, there's booths, you can do shopping, there's really cool events, and it's educational, and you still get to see the animals. And if you're not wanting to go into the rodeo, it kind of allows you to feel a little bit more a part of it than just the carnival. So I feel like that is my must-do.
I like that. I'd like to hear what your must-dos are for anybody listening who has been to the Houston Rodeo. If you have any suggestions for us or for our listeners, please do post them up in the comments. You can even drop us a line on podinbox.com/neighborsdon'tknock. Your suggestion might end up on a subsequent show.
Yeah. And if you believe in what the Houston Rodeo is doing here in Houston, you can always go to rodeohouston.com and you can donate, or you can find a way to get involved, or make your plans for next year, because it's a big deal when they roll out the list of people.
It really is.
Yeah. I'm a little sad that I can't see New Kids on the Block this year.
That's pretty awesome, isn't it?
So, all right. But it is time to get into one of our favorite parts of the show. It's time for Neighbor Tweets. Okay, it's part of the show where we scour Twitter for the good, the bad, the ridiculous of what you neighbors have to tweet about. And to start out, we are actually this is really nice. This is from Dr. Natalie Barber. and Barbour spelled Barbour.
Oh,
Okay.
Barbour.
Yeah, so Natalie_Barbour says, every morning my kids either bike or walk to school, rain or shine. My next door neighbors drive their kids to school. Today, we saw the entire family on bikes, and as we passed them, they said, "You inspired us." That's it. I can retire. Isn't that nice?
I liked it a lot.
Yeah, isn't that? I mean, did you ever bike to school?
No, I never biked to school because where I grew up, school was very, very far away. That would have taken a long time.
Okay.
Like 30-ish miles.
Oh yeah, okay. So not like with the belt buckle or not the belt. I'm in rodeo mode still. The belt strap around the books 30 miles through the woods over the hill.
No. If I biked to school, by the time I got there and the bell was ringing, it'd be the bell to go home. So
did a quick little marathon just to get to school.
Yeah. No. How about you? Did you bike to school?
I actually did bike to school. Well, I should say my early years and my elementary years.
It's very Americana of you. I like that.
So,
Very Wonder Years.
Yeah, I did. Well, because we were about a mile and a half or something.
That's cool.
You know?
I love that.
My dad had a tradition that the first day of every school year, he would walk with us to school. That was kind of our tradition for a very long time. I got a little choked up there. What's up, Dad? So
big shout out, Mr. Chambers.
Yeah.
Well done. Good traditions.
But yeah, I mean, I got to the point when we were like when rollerblades got real big, we would rollerblade and stuff like that. I mean, it was. But I lived in an area in the burbs, you know, that we were pretty much close to a lot of everything right there. Now, when I got into middle school, high school, obviously, I did not bike because I was I say obviously, but for all of you that know exactly where I went to school, no, I had to ride the bus because it was a lot farther, which I did not enjoy.
Did the buses back then have air conditioning?
No,
Oh.
no, it did.
It
did
gets
not.
hot down here. That's rough.
It gets very, very hot. You had to put those windows down and hope to get a window seat.
That is rough. Wow.
So,
I bet that smelled ripe. I love it.
I got in trouble one time where it wasn't even my fault, but I was trying to join the cool kids in the back of the bus doing stuff.
Always the back of the bus.
But yeah, the bus driver got really mad, and so for a week I had to sit at the front of the bus.
That happened to me actually when
Did-
I was
did
in
it
public
really?
school. Yeah, I got busted. The seat right behind the driver. Oh, it was awful.
Yeah, so they could like that massive mirror.
Yeah,
they just
glare
stare at you.
Yeah, absolutely.
exactly.
I've got a rollerblading question for you.
What's up?
So I was a rollerblader as well when it was super cool in the 90s to do
Like
that.
street hockey.
Yeah, which is pretty amazing looking back on it. It's one of those odd times in U.S. history culturally.
I loved it, man.
It was very fun, very dangerous. Did you like gear up like you're going to a war front when you went rollerblading? Did you have like the wrist guards and the helmet, knee pads, elbow pads?
I think for a little bit, yes. I never had. I don't know if I wore a helmet. It wasn't as cool to wear bike helmets and stuff back then.
Safety.
I
How
know,
lame.
right? I don't think it
How
was.
lame.
I think I wore the wrist guards though. So, all right. Our next tweet for the day comes from Spicy Big Dad.
Oh.
Yes, that's right. So from Spicy Big Dad, he tweets, "My dumbass effing idiot effing next door neighbor went out of town and he left his TV on full effing blast and I can hear it in my apartment. It's been going for a week. I hate this guy so much." I'm
Wow.
wondering, I hope you guys follow each other.
Wow. I don't even know where to start with that one.
I mean, I understand. I do understand the frustration with this guy. I mean, for a week, good Lord. I mean, I don't know what you do. Maybe call the landlord and ask them to go in and.
If it's a renting environment.
Yeah, if it's a renting environment, could you imagine if you're living in certain areas where you own your home or your townhome and they're close enough to where you can hear the TV that loud. I imagine it's a renting environment. If it's bugging him that bad.
At risk of vandalism charges, I could find a way to cut the main power to the dude's house.
Just MacGyver that,
I can do it.
Would you? I mean, what would be your course of action?
I don't know. I don't know what my breaking point would be. I think day 3 would probably be my breaking point. And yeah, maybe I would cut the power.
That's interesting.
Or the cable. Cable would be even easier.
Yeah, I think I'd have to. I think it would depend on what channel it was left on. You know, because I mean,
Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah.
I love this show.
I mean, if I'm hearing Star Wars, for a week, I just, live out my Star Wars, walk around with my lightsaber and live my Star Wars dream. Like, you're hearing TIE
Whenever
fighters
the
in the
battles are
background.
going,
It's like, but if I had to like listen to The Bachelor or, something, I don't know, like
Can
it
you
did.
imagine?
It's just,
Like, oh my God, I don't know if he likes me. He slept with me last night, but I'm not sure it was real.
and not to get off topic, but speaking of TV
Too late.
shows, there was a commercial, or I guess a preview for the new upcoming show, and of The Bachelor.
Oh.
And I don't know if this was prompted or this was real, but in the preview, this girl said, "If I don't get a rose, I'm going to burn this house down." I'm like, isn't that like, is that legal to say? It's just like, that's what we've been reduced to. So if I had to hear that kind of crap from my neighbors for a week, I might go a little nuts.
Didn't that land one of the band members from TLC behind bars?
I don't know.
I think it did.
So anyway, what do you guys think? What would be your course of action? Would you be able to stand it for the week, or how would you confront them when they got back? I guess that's more of the question. Maybe go on a meditation retreat, right after, before, during that week or something. That way, when you come back, you can
Oh, it's
have a little
Seinfeld again.
Oh, my word. And that is our neighbor tweets. All right. Well, Philip, as always, it's been good to see you. I think that we've exhausted this one. But you guys, we have a special announcement for you, because not only are we not done talking about rodeo, but there is a part 2. So if you want to hear part 2 of the rest of the rodeo discussion, we have some do's and don'ts that we did not tell you, and we are going to share those in our next episode. So you're going to want to tune into that.
Indeed, indeed. So be sure to check out the Houston Rodeo while it's in town, if you are in town. But if you do want to hear about some of the more less pleasant things about it, tune in next week.
Yeah. As always, like, follow, and subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcast. Check us out on YouTube. We got fun content that's going up there. Man, it's been great.
It has been fun, Brian. It's always good to see you. Thank you for unpacking the rodeo with me.
All right. Yeehaw.
Yeehaw.
All right.
Go
Peace.
Texans. Out.